guys, what's going on? I'm back with another video. In this video today, we're talking about the Week 10 football picks. So as you might know by now, every Wednesday I make a video where we talk about the football games that are going on that week, and I tell you who I think is going to win and all of that. So let's go ahead and get started here. First game tomorrow night, Thursday night game. It's the Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Ravens. So as you probably, I don't know, unless you live under a rock, you probably know that the Cleveland Browns, going into Week 10, have not won a game. These Cleveland Browns. Now, as I've said before, I have some sympathy for the Cleveland Browns. I don't know what it is. It's just kind of, I guess when you're just, you don't win a game, like eventually you just sort of, like people love to hate you, and I think that just sort of becomes, your whole thing. And that's kind of what it is with Cleveland, And on the other hand, Baltimore, last week they did just beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers, so just don't lose sight of that. I know Big Ben's injured, but whatever. Pittsburgh Steelers beat them 21-14, and then they had 4 L's in a row before last week's game. So I don't know what to make of them. I really don't. Whenever I think of Baltimore, I think of the Baltimore Ravens of a few years ago, which, as I've said before, it's not the case anymore. So, they used to really be. I think more than anything else, Baltimore is just a really physical team. It's not so much about, big plays or anything like that. They just play you really physically. You know what I mean? Going to the Sunday games, the first game up here is the Kansas City Chiefs and the Carolina Panthers. Carolina, on one hand, it seems like they're starting to get it together. They're tied for third or fourth, I guess, I don't know, in the NFC South with Tampa Bay at 3-5. They won, I guess that's what's important, but they beat the LA Rams 13-10 in their last game. It's not a big accomplishment, but it's a W's a W. I'm not buying in with Carolina. I'm just not. It's the defense it's pretty bad. The secondary, just the whole, they're not the Carolina Panthers of last year. I think that goes without saying. The Kansas City Chiefs, on the other hand, are actually looking really good. They're 6-2, which is second place in the AFC West. The AFC West this year is like if you play Madden and you made like an all-star team, you put like friggin' Johnny Unitas, Walter Payton, friggin' Tom Brady, Calvin Johnson. Just put all the legends on the same team. Like really stack a team or a division. You'd get the AFC West. It's unbelievable. In a year where we're seeing so much bad football, just crap teams doing dumb play, you know what I mean? Just a bunch of dumpster fires around the league. There's this concentration of skill in the AFC West right now that is ridiculous. The Oakland, this is the division here, so it's 4 teams, of course. Oakland Raiders 7-2, Kansas City 6-2, Denver 6-3, and San Diego chugging in at last place at an acceptable 4-5. That's a hell of a division. That is the best division in football right now. So with that being said, I've got Kansas City Chiefs winning this game. I know Carolina, they are kind of turning it on here. Not a whole lot of defense. It's kind of getting late for them. Kansas City here, with Denver just dropping their last game, going to 6-3 now. If they can win this game, they'll be 7-2. They'll be tied for first place in their division. They got a lot on the line here. I am going with the Kansas City Chiefs. Next game up, we've got the I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one. We've got the Houston Texans and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Houston's 5-3. I believe Jacksonville's 2-6. So I've got, obviously just, Houston's a stronger team. I've got Houston winning this game. Next game up here, we've got the Denver Broncos and the New Orleans Saints. I'm surprised this is an early game. Usually a game like this, they make later. This is a good matchup. I don't know what to make of the New Orleans Saints. on one hand, they put up, 41 points last week. Every time I check in on them, they always have some high-scoring game. I think they also had 41 points against the Panthers a few weeks ago. On the other hand, they're 4-4. Denver's coming off a tough divisional loss to Oakland. Hey, I'll tell you right now, Oakland looked damn good in that game. They look so good. The Oakland Raiders are making a comeback this season. I'll tell you right now. I'm talking about like the autumn wind Oakland Raiders, old school. It seems like they've finally arrived, I guess you can say. Anyways, as far as Denver is concerned, it seems like on one hand, Trevor Siemian is not all he was made out to be. It seems like he's starting to crap himself here as we get into the later innings of the season, if you will. Denver's defense, is great as it is not what it was last season. Aqib Talib's injury and just secondary problems overall has kind of really, for a team that tends to like to win on defense, it's kind of really, hurting them as far as being able to do that. week in and week out goes. New Orleans has clearly demonstrated they have no problem putting up a lot of points. I've got New Orleans winning this game just because I feel like Denver needs to lose another one and then they'll kind of it'll sink in that they gotta get it going here. Next game out, we've got the LA Rams and the New York Jets. This is what I'm talking about. There's just so much bad football. I've got the Rams winning this game. The Jets just suck ass as of late, so I've got the LA Rams. Next game up here, we got a good matchup finally. About time. We've got the Atlanta Falcons and the Philadelphia Eagles. This is gonna be a great matchup. First of all, first thing that I think of when I think about the Atlanta Falcons here, first of all, they're red hot, but second of all, from a statistics, point of view, the Atlanta Falcons currently are number one in the NFL in terms of points scored with an average of 33.9 points scored in a game. That's ridiculous. Number two is New Orleans, which we just kind of alluded to, a few minutes ago about how many points they've been putting up. Number three is San Diego, and number four is Dallas with 27.9 points. So there's really no question about it. I mean, if you just look at other statistics, total yards per game, they're beating Philadelphia 429.2 yards to 333.4. Passing yards per game, they've got them beat there. Rushing, we talked about points, third down conversions, everything. Philadelphia is kind of hitting a rough stretch here after coming out of the gate very strong as they did at the beginning of the season, 3-0, I believe, beating the Pittsburgh Steelers. That was a great game. Seems like Carson Wentz is starting to have trouble. They just, they've lost momentum here. I mean, best of luck to them, obviously. I mean, they really need to win games. I'm just not sure that this is going to be the one here. I think Atlanta has just kind of got them beat here on paper. Next game up here, we have a case study in why the NFL ratings are going to hell this season. We've got the Chicago Bears playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, I don't know who's tuning in for this one. I'll tell you right now. I mean, just because Chicago, I think they had their bye week this last week, so the week before that, they beat the Vikings 20-10. I've got Chicago winning this one. Why not? Next game up here, Green Bay Packers, Tennessee Titans. I've got some concerns about Green Bay, not for this game, but just kind of overall. Aaron Rodgers, he seems like he's starting to get it together here. He was having some real issues, really kind of like last season, really this season. However, it's starting to seem like the team around him is kind of, weighing him down here. It just kind of seems like Mike McCarthy and company have just not been able to get Green Bay to perform as, Green Bay. They really haven't looked like themselves. Anyways, with that being said, they need some wins. I've got Green Bay winning this one. Next game up here, Minnesota Vikings, Washington Redskins. Is it safe to say Minnesota's been exposed? I mean, it seems like they've been exposed. I mean, they came out 5-0, had the bye week. I did say that. I said, you got to watch the bye week because there's something about it where, I mean, for some teams, obviously, resting up and getting healthy is really the goal of a bye week. But sometimes what can happen is if you really have a lot of momentum, as the Vikings did going into a bye week, and you come out of it, sometimes you just, you lose that momentum and then you're never the same. And it seems like that's the case with them. I mean, it seems like they've really started to look like a Sam Bradford-led team. I mean, I never really bought in with them. Never really did. And now I think they're kind of falling back down to planet Earth. I've got the Redskins winning this game, but I think it's going to be a pretty close game because Minnesota's defense is pretty good, actually. Next game up here, we've got the Miami Dolphins and the San Diego Chargers. Miami, how do you say his name? Jay Ajayi? I think that's how you say his name. That guy is a machine. I mean, he is unbelievable if you've seen any of the film on him. On the other hand, San Diego is kind of like in a limbo here. They are, in last place in the AFC West, which, like I've said, I think it's the best division in football. So for some reason, I think after they beat Denver, I kind of just, associated San Diego with really being a contender this year, and I'm not sure if that's an accurate take. Maybe I'm just kind of, haven't been up to speed with them. I think just overall, I mean, other than if you take Jay Ajayi out of the mix, and if I'm not saying his name right, I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure that's how you say it. If you take him out of the mix, San Diego wins easily, I think. But so, I mean, with him in there, if San Diego's defense can step up, make some plays, Phillip Rivers, if he looks like Phillip Rivers, I don't see any reason why San Diego can't win this game, so I get San Diego. Next game up here, we've got the San Francisco 49ers and the Arizona Cardinals. Of course, I've got the Arizona Cardinals. San Francisco, they are not about anything at all this season, it seems like. I'm not exactly sure what it is with Arizona, but they've not met expectations. But you don't even need to worry about meeting expectations when you're playing the San Francisco 49ers. You can come in well below expectations and probably still beat them. So I've got Arizona winning this game. These next two games here could quite possibly be the games of the year. First up, we've got the Dallas Cowboys and the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's a team Dallas is going to lose to. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers, no question about it. However, it's really a question as to Number one, Roethlisberger's health. He did not look like himself in their last game. I think he said like they had to they had to shave the meniscus. I don't know what that sounds terrible. I don't know what's involved in that. So obviously his knee surgery there. He's definitely not 100%. And Big Ben, who's not 100%. You got, Landry Jones, who, maxes out at around, 40%. When that quarterback role is not being filled out for Pittsburgh, they really don't look like the Pittsburgh Steelers. So if Big Ben's healthy, he's ready to go. I'd give this game to Pittsburgh. However, it's starting to seem like just because of his injury and the fact that a lot of, what Pittsburgh, can do offensively kind of revolves around him and his presence in the pocket. I mean, I think if you watched their game this last week, there was one play where a guy jumps on his back to sack him and he just kind of flips, it's the WWE. I think he did go down eventually, but I don't know. I mean, just his pocket presence, he's kind of really the glue that holds that offense together. And when he's not 100%, neither is the team. Now, if you want to talk about a team that's 100%, look no further than the Dallas Cowboys. Everybody's saying now it's going to be Dallas Cowboys in the Super Bowl playing the New England Patriots. That seems more likely than not. However, anything can happen, as we've seen here. It seems like the debate about Tony Romo and Dak Prescott is really getting heated here because it seems like Tony Romo is I guess they could put him in at this point. I guess he's kind of recuperated enough, and it's really come down to what, the call Jerry Jones wants to make here. Personally, I mean, I think last week I said you should give Tony Romo a game, at least, let him play a game, get some film on him, then you can make an educated decision. This week, I've kind of changed my mind on this. I think that Dak Prescott has had such momentum here. I mean, him and Ezekiel Elliott both. I feel like if you did take him out for a game, really even part of a game, I mean, if he misses a start, really, as we've seen with so many other teams, it could kill his momentum and in turn, really hurt the team here. And it's really one of those things that's more psychological than anything else, I think. So really, at this point, I kind of have to do a 180. I have to say you got to keep Dak Prescott in there until he chokes, because if he has a really bad game, then it's easy to say, okay, well, we're going to put Tony Romo, and it's easy to make that argument. However, when he's blowing teams out, it's kind of a head scratcher of an argument to try to justify why you're taking him out. But really, it's momentum more than anything else. If you're the Dallas Cowboys, you want to keep that going. But anyways, a healthy Dak Prescott versus an injured Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, I have to go with Dallas here. Next game up here, game of the week, if not game of the year, depending on what happens in this game. Seattle Seahawks, New England Patriots, Sunday Night Football, Super Bowl. What was the last one was L. That's a Roman numeral for 50. So it was 49. This was a Super Bowl 49 rematch. I don't know why I had to do long division there to figure that out, but whatever. Super Bowl 49 rematch. Two great teams, prime time. This is as good as it gets. I mean, you want to talk about bad matchups all you want. This is the best matchup I think you could get, really, at least on paper. There's a lot to talk about here, and I kind of want to do it quickly. Looking first at Seattle, I think the biggest things to consider with them really have nothing to do with the team. It's just kind of more logistics-wise. Seattle's coming off a short week here, so they played Monday night and, not a Sunday, so, minus a day, so they're playing a short week. Also, the other big thing you have to consider is they have to fly all the way across the country. I guess this one's in New England. I'm pretty sure that other than the London games, that's the longest possible flight, I think, from Seattle to New England. I think that's the longest trip a team could take, I think, just geographically. I might be wrong. I probably am. I've been before. But anyways, we're talking about a cross-country trip on a short week with a rather injured team. Michael Bennett's out, I think. Russell Wilson's still injured, even though he's starting to look a little bit better here, but he's still not his normal mobile self, I guess you could say. So I think that, if you want to make a case that Seattle's going to lose this game, I think it's going to be, really just kind of logistics and injuries. Short week, cross-country trip. Michael Bennett's out. Russell Wilson's injured. I think Tyler Lockett is also dealing with something, so... Now, the Patriots, on the other hand, it's the complete opposite. They just had a bye week. I think all their players are healthy, I guess. I'm just looking at the injury report right now. All their main guys, I guess, are healthy. So that's good news for them. I'm reading right here, they've been watching all the film. They watched the Super Bowl again. They've basically just been sitting back on their ass, just getting ready for this one. They've had all the time in the world, and I guess they're ready to go. And, of course, none of what I've said here really takes into consideration how strong either team is or strategy or anything like that. I mean, if you wanted to get into that just quickly, I think strategically, I think after what happened at the end of that Super Bowl, calling the pass and of course got intercepted, I think just from a tactician perspective, you got to chalk up the strategy column for Bill Belichick. And I guess it really comes down to how strong either team is. I think they're both really strong teams. I think the New England Patriots are stronger on offense, and I think the Seahawks have an edge on defense. If you look at the statistics quickly, I mean, this feels like the election last night kind of, but the Patriots are ahead of Seattle in total yards per game, passing yards per game, and rushing yards per game. I mean, the loss of Marshawn Lynch really stands out here because the Patriots, a team that's really never been about the run, has outrushed Seattle 116 yards to 75 on average per game this year. So I think the Patriots clearly have an edge on offense. I think Seattle has an edge on defense. And then really just to tip the scale either way, I think you kind of have to look at the logistics here. Like I said, having to fly cross country on a short week, dealing with some injuries. So I'm going to go ahead and give this one to the New England Patriots. Last game here, Monday Night Football, Cincinnati Bengals, New York Giants. The Giants are really an anomaly. I mean, they're like the luckiest team in football. Next to the Seahawks, because the Seahawks have had, that blocked kick against Minnesota, but, they both had circus catches, in their fair share of Super Bowls. The Giants had the whole controversy with Josh Brown, and somehow, I mean, it's not that they're really a strong team, because they really aren't. It's just somehow they come away with wins some weeks. I really don't know how they do it. Cincinnati, on the other hand, just had a tie in, I think this was the London game against the Redskins, 27-27. They beat the Browns the week before that. They just had a bye week this last week. I'm going to go ahead and give this to Cincinnati just because I feel like Cincinnati needs to do better. They're 3-4-1. Whereas the Giants, on the other hand, they're kind of, coming off a little stretch here. So I can see how the Giants could get complacent. Whereas on the other hand, the Bengals really have something to play for here, especially their coach, I think. So yeah, that's going to do it for this week in football, and that's going to do it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you have any comments, any suggestions for improvement, I'd love to hear it. Please leave a comment and anything like that. But other than that, that's going to do it until next time, guys. Thanks for watching.